brand new video for the brand new channel. Today, guys, we'll be talking about the losi LST platform. And basically, I'm going to talk to you guys about why I feel this is one of the best Nitro RC trucks out there on the market right now. Even though this truck's discontinued, they still make different variants of this truck. Just a bit of a heritage about this truck really quick and how I got it, and modifications that I've done to this truck, which isn't a lot. Basically, my uncle's friend had one. He didn't want it anymore. Gave it to him, and then they gave it to me. And so basically, now I have it. Here I am. The only things I ever broke was something in the steering. I blew up the motor, which was my fault, and also the steering was my fault as well. The steering was worn out, and then I hit something, and it broke it. But it was a cheap fix. I didn't even have to pay anything. Actually, yeah, no, I didn't even have to spend any money. I had a little rod lying around, and I fixed it all back together. The motor, it was cold out, I was revving it out too high, didn't let it warm up, and I threw a connecting rod. Still rebuildable, but this motor right here is super cheap. I bought it instead of trying to rebuild this motor, and I'm going to have a separate video on this motor, because this motor is super nice for your Nitro big block RC cars, if you want to get one. Yeah, guys, so that's how I got the car. The modifications I've done is obviously the motor, and I did 17mm wheel hubs so I could put these Proline Badlands on here, which are super nice, super grippy, love them, and it's got some true bead locks on there, which is super cool as well because they look dope. Yeah, guys, so that's all the modifications I've done to this. Also, before me, the guy who had it did a forward-only conversion on the transmission, which is great. I don't really want reverse anyways. Frees up some space on the chassis for the battery right here. There's supposed to be a second servo right here that does it forward and reverse. Yeah, guys. So after this, I'm going to talk about right now is the different variants of this losi LST platform. Starting off with the original, the losi LST1. Now this car is basically the same thing, same chassis and everything as this car, but I think it came with a different motor and different pipe, I'm pretty sure, than the 427 big block. It came with different wheels. The suspension, which is really nice. These shocks right here, the other ones, this one's a threaded, the other ones weren't, which is not really a big deal if you're bashing. Really, I think that's it, and I think it came with this slightly different transmission. But other than that, it's really the same exact truck. The radio is different too. This is the Spectrum radio right here. Haven't had an issue with this radio. 4 batteries, 2.4 gigahertz, ready to go. It's got steering, throttle trim, steering trim, and steering duration, which is super nice. And then it's got reverse switches, and that's it. That's all you really need for this truck anyways. It's just a basher after all. But yeah, guys. So that's it. Now we're going to be talking about the drivetrain of this engine, which is, of the car, which is also really strong. So I just realized, silly me, I only did the losi LST1. They also make some other LSTs as well. Losi LST XXL. Losi LST with just a slightly longer chassis. It's extended in the middle. So really the same thing. It just same components. Just has a slightly longer dog bone axles in the front and rear, just to compensate for the extension in the chassis. But it's got everything the same, and it also it has the same front clip and rear clip for suspension as the losi LST1. Losi LST2 XXL. They do make this still. It's the same exact truck, same thing, extended chassis, but it's got a 0.31 dynamite gasoline motor, which is super nice. It's better than the other gasoline motors out there in the market for the fifth scales and stuff like that, because it's basically a nitro motor with a spark plug, which is super nice because that motor is still revs up like a nitro motor to like 25 grand or whatever. It's got plenty of power, about 3 horsepower. And you can still run it all day because it's a gasoline car. So it's the best of both worlds. And you can also, the reason, which is super nice, is that the losi LST2 XXL is originally a nitro car. But since that motor is basically a nitro motor, the gas motor is basically a nitro motor, you can just pop it right in. Do the same thing with the losi 8T, I'm pretty sure. And also losi 8. And you can also just put it into really any big block nitro RC car you have out here. This is also 1/8 scale, by the way. So, back to the drivetrain. Oh, they also make an electric version of this. It's just an electric motor. And just same transmission and everything. But we're going to talk about the drivetrain of this. Now, the drivetrain is super nice. I love the way it's set up. First of all, the clutch is pointing towards you. Under this case right here is two plastic, maybe it's polymer, two-speed gears, and that's the only two gears that are plastic in this whole drivetrain. The whole center right here drivetrain is completely metal gears, and the front diff and the rear diff are completely metal gears as well. CV joints, all metal, all around, and two dog bones coming out from the center transmission to the differentials, which is nice. I haven't had an issue. Was really nice. Also right here, the brakes, really quick. Two disc brakes have fine. I've had them lock up on me a couple times. Like if I hit the brake, they'll lock up. With these tires, they're super grip. They don't lock up, but they stop on a dime. Like if you're on the street and you're going full speed, it takes about 10 feet to stop, which is super nice to control this car. What's good about the plastic gears in the front, and the reason why I won't change into metal, first of all, the metal ones are super expensive, like $300, and the truck alone's like $300 used if you can find a good deal. If something goes wrong in this transmission, these gears will strip before anything else will go wrong, which is great. I know you're saying, oh man, like now you gotta change them all the time. I only had to change them 3 times. That's because I didn't have it set up right. Now that I have the truck dialed in, everything is fine. Each gear is about $5 in a new style gears that they make. They make the old style gears, which is for like the losi aftershock, but they don't make them anymore. And they're more expensive. And to switch to new style gears, they fit right on. You just got to get two different hubs that are metal that you got to put in here. But they're like $5, so it's either would you rather spend $50 or how much it is to do a whole diff in the front, or would you rather spend $5 on a little gear right here, which is super nice. It's a great safety. And also the reason why I like it right here is that it's super easy to adjust the 2-speed, and the slipper clutch is right on here as well. It's super easy to adjust it. You just take off 2 screws to this case and you're fine. Everything's right there, which is super nice as well. The only issue I've had with this drivetrain is that the person who did a forward-only conversion, I also should put this up. This LST comes either, I don't know about this one right here particularly, but I know that some of them come with forward and reverse, and some of them come with a low and high gears, which is pretty cool. I don't have any of that. I just got a forward only. But the guy who did before me, it used to be a forward and reverse transmission. But the issue that I've had was that one of the gears started clicking because the guy, there's a bearing that has a flange on it, and he put the flange on the wrong side, so the gears started clicking because they had some play in them. After reshimming everything up, and we did that, everything's fine. It wasn't the truck's fault; it's the guy's fault who did it. But I had the gear downstairs, so it was free to do, and the gear that stripped out, well, it didn't really strip out, it just got a little chewed up. We'll still be able to we could have reused it, but I don't know if we're gonna have problems like in the future. So I just put a new gear in there, and everything's fine now. That's only issue I've had with the drivetrain. Now let's move right on to the steering. All right, guys. So the steering on this truck is kind of hard to show you guys, but just take my word for it. I've only had one issue with the steering, is that these little arms right here, and it was technically my fault. These are worn out. There's like these 2 little holes, and where this, since it's a dual steering servo setup, which is, I haven't had any issues with the servos like fighting each other or anything like that, and it's got servo savers on each one, so I haven't had an issue. And so basically what happened is they're worn out. I hit like a bump that was like this high, and I still kept on driving after it. I flipped the car, but when I turned off the servos, I was able to turn the wheels that way and that way, like independently. So there's a little rod that connects the 2 servos together, like the two arms, and the holes snapped off. But I got another rod, bent it up, made it a little bit longer, and drilled some holes in those plastic things, and everything's been fine. These little arms are just pretty cool. It pivots on bearings, which is really nice. Makes everything nice and smooth. The steering angle's pretty decent for a monster truck. That's the only thing that's like alright about this truck, but super durable. I haven't had any issues. Also, this red knuckle right here was already cracked before I had it. Somebody epoxied it, and that epoxy started to fall off. So I did a bunch of Gorilla Glue and 2 zip ties, and it doesn't look the best, but I haven't had any issues, and I already ran like 4 times like that on there. And I haven't had an issue, and we have those parts downstairs if I need to rebuild that as well. Everything's fine. I haven't really had any other issues with the steering, and that's really just because they got worn out over the years. I don't know how long this guy has had this truck for, so I don't know. But the steering is super nice, and what's also really cool is this chassis. It's got room for another servo in the back. You know what that means, right? You can put these arms in the front, the steering arms, right in the back, and you can have rear steering on this truck if you want to. Personally, it doesn't really need it, but it's cool to know that you can do that, which is really nice. Which also is great about this chassis, which we're gonna be moving on next to. I'm just gonna do the chassis in the same clip as this one right now. So basically, the chassis is super nice. It's symmetrical, so the front and the back are the same exact style. There's only one port for the servo in the back, but everything else is the same. This right here, you would have to modify if you want to do restrain. The little shaft, where this little shaft goes right here, it's completely solid. You would have to cut that out, but there's still holes to put the everything in, which is really cool. And I don't even think you'll need that, because if you're just doing one servo, I think it'll be fine. But it's a double pan. Well, not really. It's not a pan style chassis, but it's double layered. There's 3 metal pieces right on here, which holds the whole front and rear clip together, and then the center piece helps it stiffen up, and everything else is all hooked up right here. And there's another layer right here, but it's not really. I wouldn't really call it a 3-layer chassis. I have one servo for throttle and brake right here. There is also another port for forward and reverse, which I don't have anything in there. And so I just have the battery laying right here. The motor is faced that way, is like the shaft is going that way, which is nice. And then you have the gas tank right here, which is three screws. Take it right off, and you have all the electronics housed in this. I guess you could say water resistant case. I've went in the snow. I haven't got any water in there, but it's definitely not waterproof. But really, no Nitro's waterproof, because if you get any water on this air filter, if you submerge this, you're screwed, and it's not gonna run. So that's it. It's super easy to take with the way the chassis is built. It's very easy to replace these diffs or take them out. It's just this whole front piece comes right off. Sorry. You take this front bumper off, and then you could take this whole clip out, and it slides right out, which is super nice. And so yeah, guys, that's really it for the chassis. It's super nice, very strong. Haven't had no cracks. There's only a little crack right here, but somebody epoxied that, and that was, I didn't do that personally. I don't know what this guy was doing with the other car, but he beat it up pretty good. But it held it. Everything is pretty good on this truck. I haven't really had any complaints with the chassis. There's this little brace right here that holds the shock tower together, which actually comes in handy a lot. So yeah, everything's fine. Stock chassis. Haven't had any issues with it. Now let's move on to the suspension components, which is really the highlight of this car, because the way it's built, it handles like a dream. Alright guys, so we're going to start off with the shocks of this car. Now, they might not look like something special to you guys right now, but when people say, like a lot of Nitro cars, and a lot of people say, oh, my car has big bore shocks. Well, this is true big bore shocks, I'm telling you. Like, these are overbuilt, heavy duty, never had an issue with them, haven't had to replace the shock oil. They're plastic caps in the top, and there's a little bit of play. But if you're just like, if you're doing bashing, you're fine. And also they sell metal caps that you can use. Completely threaded metal body right here. But that's super nice. The shafts in here, like these little shock shafts right here, I don't know what the term is for them, but they never bent. They're super thick. The diameter of these are a little bit over 1/4, which is like really good. Like, these are really nice shocks. I haven't had an issue with them. They're nice and long. They're nice and smooth. Got a lot of suspension travel, and I haven't had an issue. And also it's double wishbone suspension. These are the stock arms. This truck sits super wide. I have the suspension. It's set up like that, so it's very, very low in the front. Like, it's not like low, but it's at its lowest point for optimal handling. And it's super wide. I never really had this thing flip. I only flipped once on me on the street. That's because I spun out and I flipped. And also I crashed in the rear 2 times. But that's in the backyard and in the dirt. But the suspension is super nice on this truck. Super it handles really well. Never have it flipped when I was driving around going fast. can't really say much. It's stock suspension, works great. Haven't broken anything yet, but I have suspension arms, metal ones for the front. So if I do break something in the front, I can put metal ones in the front. I don't have anything for the rear, but I have a lot of parts for them. There's a little bit of toe in the rear. It's completely flat in the front, but toe in is fixed. These are all fixed joints, and also there's some camber in the rear as well. But it does help. This car doesn't really spin out a lot, and that's because really these Proline Badlands are just really great tires. But this car handles great. Haven't really had it flipped over a lot. Yeah, guys, this thing is really nice. Handles great. It handles really good for a monster truck. It's only about 18 pounds, which is a little heavy, but with this big block motor, you don't really feel it. And also, I don't know, it has a lot of power. You can put a really big motor in it if you want to. It's very strong. This car never really breaks on me, just like little things that the owner before me, it was like either my fault or the owner's fault before me, has like just, I don't know, is their fault. It's not ever really was the truck's fault. And yeah, I don't really have any complaints with this car. This car is super nice. If you have the money to buy one, I would recommend to buy it. They sell an electric if you want. You can get that too as well. This truck in electric is really nice as well. Beast HPI Savage for sure. And Traxxas Revo is really the only closest thing that comes to this. But even the Revo comes with plastic gears in the transmission, and it's super complex with all their Traxxas TQI, whatever it is on there. Personally, I like this car. It's even the Revo's got a small block, and you guys say, oh well, small blocks they rev higher. This motor revs at 30,000 RPM. That's what it says. I haven't got it up there before, but I definitely can tell you that I rev this thing out a lot, and it I've never had an issue. This tank, and they're saying, oh well, the small blocks save on fuel. Well, you don't really need to worry about that. I've gotten about 25 to 20 minutes out of this tank before. This tank is humongous for this car. Even with a little bit of a rich tune, I've gotten like about 20 minutes out of a 3/4 tank, which is great. It's perfect amount of runtime, perfect amount of fun. My buddy's got a Stampede, just the regular brush version, and he has to go through two 7-cell batteries, before I'm done with 3/4 of this tank, which is pretty crazy. So it's perfect amount of runtime. It's a perfect amount of fun. It's not like, oh, I ran out of gas, sucks. But this sucks. But this really big tank, that's super nice. Just because of the way the chassis is set up, you can have a really nice tank on here. So yeah, guys, that's really all I gotta say for this truck. Everything's fine. I love the 2 servos set up at the front. Having an issue with that. Pretty much a stock truck, and it does me well. It's really nice. I love it. They still make parts for this all the time. Still have a lot of aftermarket support, even though this car is old and discontinued. Well, this particular model. But yeah, if you guys want to see any more videos about this truck, leave a comment below. Leave a like and subscribe, please. Be doing some running videos of this very soon. What I run it on really quick is the VP Racing 20% Nitro. I have run 25% Nitro. I wouldn't trust it over 25%. But I just got 20. That's all I got right now. Due to this virus, I can't really say the name because I feel like YouTube. I've been seeing a lot of YouTubers getting shut down for saying that word. So I'm just gonna say, hope you guys are doing all well with this virus going on. I'm in New York, so I'm in the epicenter. Stay safe, and also the reason why is that I can't get gas for this car anymore. I only have a half tank because the speed shop that sells this gas is closed right now. So not gonna be doing a lot of running videos, but I'll do 1 or 2 until this stuff blows over. But thanks guys for watching. Catch you guys in the next video.